the knowing of knowing as is. No identity. Identity itself does not experience itself. The I thought does not experience itself. The I thought is what arises out of the body. The body does not experience itself. Only consciousness realizes itself. We call that self-realization, or divine intuition, which is today's meeting, the channel of divine intuition, self-realization. So there we are. The divine intuition of what one is. Attachment to the mind creates a thinker. Relating from the mind does not experience itself. The thinker does not experience itself. It is the knowing of reality that intuits reality. If one is knowing of the mind and knowing that the mind does not exist outside of one's knowing, outside of consciousness, and surely it is the knowing that intuits reality. Attachment to the mind only creates a false sense of doership. Why do you do that? You think the mind channels information that will get you somewhere other than where you're at. But that's how the mind is. It's always seeking other. The divine intuition, self-realization, sees that there is no other. As consciousness knowing of itself, all is the self. Nothing is separate from that. Can't you see that attachment to the mind takes on the characteristic of the mind? And you become a thinker. So instead of thoughts appearing, you think your thoughts. And from a relating from that seems separate, that seems other than what you want. The divine intuition does not come from the mind. It is already what is. It is what is appearing as the mind. It is via the divine intuition that you see this. Not you as a person, you as what you are. This is the profound sadhana that they speak of in India, and the profound meditation that they speak of in Buddhism. This is mercy that they speak of in Christianity. Mercy simply means seeing as God sees. The divine intuition in relation to what is real, appearing as this, appearing as mind. The mind is known. The mind is not knowing. Understand this. Know this. The mind isn't knowing. The mind is a reflection of what is knowing. The mind lives in relation to what is knowing. If you're attached to the mind, then you are caught up in a reflection. You see yourself as that reflection. This is narcissism. Narcissus. Upon awakening, the mind opens up to reflect what is knowing, being known. The mind is known. And the mind, in reflecting that knowing, embodies that knowing. Knowing comes to be. Take a look at your emotional identity. You feel your feelings. You become the feeler of your feelings. And from the standpoint of feeling your feelings, you get lost in feelings. But even your emotional nature is known. Does your emotional nature come inward to what is knowing, so that knowing is manifest, reflected by this feeling? Or do you feel an urgency to seek other? Because again, with feelings, it's closely related with the mind. It seeks other. And from that standpoint, you cannot feel your way to reality. All attachment has to be let go of. All attachment to identity. There is no identity, none whatsoever. It is here that I've always said, there's nothing in it for you. It's only upon awakening when knowing becomes distinguished from appearance. The knowing of itself knows it is not. It is not defined by thought or feeling. Thought and feeling, when living in relation to the divine intuition, simply translates that. Thought and feeling is a translation of what you know. Not a translation of attachment. Translation of attachment is I, individual, sense of separation. It translates knowing by being known. Remain as I am, remain as knowing. Allow the attachment to fall away. See what is appearing as it is. And you'll see whether it translates what you know or it's a distortion of what you know. You'll see. The divine intuition of reality is a complete merging with reality. It is a complete identification with reality, of oneness. How can you, what other way is there to characterize what you are? You can't. So don't try. It's not this or it's not that. It just is. The channel is what you are. Another word for channel is portal. What is that portal that is knowing of non-location, appearing as location? What is that? It's self-realization. All is self. I am nothing appearing as everything. It is only that that intuits reality, nothing to do with the mind or one's emotional nature. What obscures you from this is your attachment to the mind and the emotional nature and the bodily sensation. But what is knowing of all this is completely transcendent to all this. Your knowing of it does not in any way be defined by that. So, no questions. Okay, I'll carry on talking. You think by letting go of the identity, the attachment to the mind or to the emotional nature, even the physical appearance, you think detaching from that, you'll become dysfunctional or you'll lose everything. But is the idea of you really what is controlling this or doing this? Because that's knowing. The thought of you that is functionally working everything out is knowing. So what is doing this? What is really doing this? It's not the doer that is attached to the mind, it's the doing of non-doing that is what you are. Let the idea of identity be your sadhana, your practice. I am saying this, not me. I am of that appearing as this, saying this. I am no one, same as what you are. As what I am, there is no other. It is channel, it is portal. Do you think your identity is the portal of all information, exerting self-will to gather information from your mind and your emotional nature to make something other than what you are now? It's not reality. Reality is prior all that. It's before all that. It's before the idea of you was even created. That's why they call it the face before you were born. It's prior all personal experience. And it's here, now, always. You see, upon awakening, I realized I've always known this because my sense of separation was never separate from it, ever. That was the illusion. And it was so profoundly simple at such a profound cost. The only thing in the way is your identity. Identity is I. That doesn't channel reality. That distorts reality. If you identify with the mind, if you attach to the mind, you'll have a mental vibrational sense of intuition. You'll always be suspicious. It's the same with the heart. You'll always be guarded. You'll always be keeping safe. But there's no safety. The I thought wants to know. You can't know. It is known. This is where there's a shift in consciousness. Going from trying to know, remaining as knowing instead. Huge difference. No questions, that's good. You know, it's the identity that creates suffering. Only identity, only attachment. It's only identity that maintains attachment, maintains a need to know from the mind and to know from the heart. How can you possibly know? You can't. The only way to get past the identity is to simply accept it. It's just a thought, it's just an idea, it's no. And it's only the knowing aspect that can accept it totally, because it's not separate from what you are. So you can't eradicate it so that then you find in the absence knowing. It doesn't work that way. You have to totally accept it. Remain as I am, remain in the knowing, and then see what happens. It's just that in your knowing, it's a completely different custom to the custom of your habitual I. The habitual I is doership, whereas there's no custom whatsoever with your knowing. It directly experiences. This is why direct experience is synonymous with acceptance. So before self-realization, it's just profound acceptance. Let go of seeking. And then upon awakening, there's profound direct experience, which is still the same as acceptance. Attachment falls away. The I thought is no longer the reality principle. Doership is no longer the reality principle. Non-doing of doing is the reality principle. Emptiness appearing as form is the reality principle. There's no separation. It's only this I thought that creates separation. So focus on the I thought. Don't get caught up in the I thought and start doing things, reading things, trying to work it out. It does not work. Go deeper than you. Your feelings are not reality. Your thoughts are not reality. Identity is not reality. Oh, I'm trying to sit comfortably. So he who lays down his life receives eternal life. That's what Jesus said. Yeshua said. Let go of identity as a reality principle and remain in what you know. That's deeper than that. Your knowing of all identity is transcendent of all identity. And you do know this. There's a knowing that knows this. Relate from that. It's not located in you. It's simply knowing of you. So don't look inside yourself. Don't look in. Don't look out. There's no in or out. The knowing has no in or out. And it's knowing of this. It's the everything is self-evident of this. Everything. Form is completely evident of emptiness. Completely. You cannot define what you are, although you see who you are. And who you are is known, and that does not exist outside of that, outside of consciousness. There's no separation whatsoever. So there's no one letting go. This is about self-realization. There's no one letting go. There's no one doing anything. There's no one thinking anything. No one feeling anything, despite if you're thinking or even if you're feeling. All is self-evident of what you are. That's how simple it is. Truth is simple. Explaining truth is not simple. Truth is simple. Explaining truth is like trying to explain to someone the taste of chocolate when they've never tasted chocolate before. Trying to explain to a fish what the sea feels like. That's what it's like. All is knowing. All is consciousness. Everything is evident of that. when consciousness becomes self-realized, coming away from its attachment to the mind, it itself is the most profound knowing and profound intuition of reality, non-locality, essence, source. Because the source of knowing isn't born of the mind, it is knowing of the mind. And the knowing of the mind was not even born. It's never been born. And when this awakening occurs, you'll come to see the way it moves. You'll come to see how it doesn't identify with thoughts. So there's no thinker, there's just direct experience. The thought is known, and the thought comes in relation to what is known. There's no separation whatsoever. The same with feelings, the same with the body. But there still exists the idea of you in many dysfunctional ways within the body, within the mind, within the heart. So upon awakening, there's still work to be done. But it's done via non-doership. Via the divine channel, what's it called, of intuition. Well, we're going for a record here, no questions. This is wonderful. Do this alone. Stay as knowing. Don't go in your knowing. There's no one going in your knowing. Everything is known. Be that knowing of what is known. Yeah? Come away from this identity of how do I get my knowing? How do I forget all that? No. Knowing is acceptance. That identity, there's something not right with identity. There's a knowing of that. And that knowing has brought you to me, has brought you to Buddhism, has brought you to whatever spiritual practice you do. You know there's something wrong. You know it. Then give yourself to knowing. Be that. Be that knowing. It's just knowing. Except that identity is not reality. It's not reality. It's activity born out of a sense of separation, born out of an identification to the body and what arises out of the body. And what arises out of the body is a thought. This thought we call I. It's wrong. And you know it's wrong. But do you want to relate from your identity to find this? Because you won't. Or just stand in your knowing. Stand in that what's called a surrendered consciousness. Surrendered consciousness. He who lays his life down receives eternal life. Surrendered consciousness. Knowing. Pure consciousness. Witness. The witness position. The witness is what is known. It's not someone witnessing. It's not you doing it. Witnessing is already happening. The all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is the eye. There's only one. It is without characteristic. What is that knowing? What is knowing of this? This consciousness of this? The I identity has to break, has to go. By a complete acceptance of it, as knowing of it, and stand as knowing. It is the most profound sadhana, the most profound mercy, and it is the most profound meditation. But the schools of religious thought give you instruction to meditate, to be mercy, to forgive, to do these things. There's no one doing this. It already is the case. This is where it's all gone wrong, completely. That's not laying down your life. Meditation, mercy, this is natural. This is the natural state. It's not achieved by a separate sense of doership at all. It's only achieved by that when it's realized that that doesn't work and seeking falls away, and then realization occurs. Ramana said, "Who are you? Who am I? Who are you?" The I can't answer that question. The knowing of that question is the answer to that question. Realization then occurs. So let go of that thought, just that one thought, that I identity. It's okay to have feelings, it's okay to have thoughts. These things are happening. What's directly experiencing that is appearing as that. But that I thought is not experiencing it, and it's completely distorting it. Completely. And that I thought is no. But that I thought will keep you, is attachment. Is attachment. It's identification with projective identification, projection. It channels nothing but your experience. Memory. Are you that precious? Are you that precious that you're relating from your experience must be the way you've perceived life up until now? Is it that precious that you've got to keep it, that perspective, that I perspective? The way you perceive in a separate way. It's not reality. We live in times of being too precious in our personal sense. And it's got and it has obliterated the true sense of community. The whole world has become more selfish. True community is communion. Is the knowing of this in all things. All is God, all is consciousness. There's nothing precious there, yet it's the most precious thing in the world. There's no individual preciousness. It is precious in that sense. So distinguishing your knowing from appearance, including the I thought. The I thought is appearance. Let's say it straight. The I thought is appearance because it's known. Okay, it's not actually experiencing this. You're deluded in thinking that you're experiencing this via this thought I It doesn't experience. There's a further back reality that's appearing as this, the knowing, pure consciousness. So accept it. Remain as I am. Become still and know that I am. That I thought, cessation of thought is the same thing, cessation of thought. Yeah. But there's no one doing this. There's no one trying to, there's no practice. It's already here, what you are.